Hey everyone, I'm back with news, views, and conversations. Just want to give an update on what I've learned about the indictment of Mayor Eric Adams of New York, federal charges. So it's a lot going on here. Don't want to bring in too much conspiracy theory because everything is just happening in the government and the entertainment world. So Mayor Adams, he's the one that originally gave P. Diddy the key to the city of New York on last year. Well, as we know, with all the events that have taken place with P. Diddy, he actually just took the key back, pretty much repoed it back because of everything that's coming out. Well, now he has his own federal indictment himself. He's been indicted on federal charges. Uh, they're pretty much saying that he's been indicted for bribery, wire fraud, and seeking illegal campaign donations. From what I'm understanding, they're saying that he took illegal donations from the Turkish government. That's the information that I've gotten. He's been receiving Turkish gifts, donations from Turkey for his campaign. That's been at the center of his investigation. I believe when he was first running for mayor in 2021. So I guess they began to court him as far as, they can contribute to his campaign to help him get elected. Can he help them, be able to get a high-rise building in place? So after their dignitaries come to visit New York, they come there. And I believe that there were some things that were not exactly ready as of yet with the location, but in spite of that, he was able to push it through. They helped him, and now they need him to do what they needed him to do. So it's really a big deal. He's pretty much saying that he doesn't want to, step down. He knew that this was coming as far as being investigated. So now we're having to deal with this. But I wanted to read a little bit of what I was able to pull myself as far as information that I was able to get. So they're pretty much saying the indictment follows a months-long federal investigation into campaign fundraising violations and foreign influence. Adams has previously denied any wrongdoing, and he has frequently repeated that he told members of his campaign and administration to follow the law. Mayor Adams says, I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, that I would be a target, and a target I became. If I am charged, I am innocent, and I will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit. Adams said, responding to the news on Wednesday night. Adams is a former New York Police Department captain. He took office in January of 2022 and presented himself as the new face of the Democratic Party, promising a tough on crime approach and a commitment to revitalizing the city after the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet he has struggled to resolve the city's key challenges, such as the migrant crisis situation and concerns about subway safety, and has faced criticism for his late night partying and clashes over city spending, particularly on education. Now, nearly 3 years into his first term, Adams is facing multiple federal charges, as I mentioned, that jeopardize his ability to remain in office and threaten the future of his political career. So they're pretty much trying to oust him altogether, pretty much like a little bit of the same fate that Diddy has, locking him up. But I'm sure not for that long period of a time, but he could get the same thing. When he was asked on Tuesday if he was considering resigning, Mayor Adams said, I'm stepping up, not stepping down. So he's showing his resilience that he ain't going nowhere. He says he wants to fight this thing. So we got to see how this all plays out and what's going to happen next. The mayor's legal troubles escalated in September when top members of his staff at City Hall, including two deputy mayors, a senior advisor, and the school's chancellor, received search warrants and had their phones seized by federal investigators. Edward Cabin, the former New York Police Department commissioner, also had his phone seized as part of a separate federal investigation and was forced to resign. Days later, Lisa Zornberg, City Hall's top lawyer and one of Adams' staunchest defenders, abruptly resigned in a brief two-sentence resignation letter. Zornberg stated that she had concluded she could no longer serve effectively in her position. A week later, school's chancellor David Banks announced he would retire at the end of the year, stepping down from his position, leading the nation's largest public school system, just days after his home was searched by federal investigations. who seized his cell phone during the execution of a federal search warrant. The first sign of trouble for Adams came nearly a year ago when federal investigators zeroed in on his chief campaign fundraiser, Breonna Suggs, and executed a search warrant at her home. So he's not only getting taken down by himself, they're pretty much coming after his entire administration. So anyone that's been assisting him since he's been in office to help him, run the city, they're coming after everyone that has been helping him to, make the moves that he needs to make as mayor. I guess pretty much saying that they have information, they know what's going on, what orders has he given them to funnel certain things. So, like I said, we got to see how this plays out. The mayor has touted his ties to the city's Turkish American community and said he had visited the country at least 6 or 7 times. Adams traveled to Turkey at least twice as Brooklyn borough president. The Turkish consulate paid for an August 2015 trip during which he signed a sister city agreement with Istanbul Üsküdar district. So it sounds like he's been making friendly with the Turkish government, and the FBI is now swarming all over it, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it because he's not supposed to be taking donations from a foreign government. He was supposed to raise his funds legally in order to run for mayor. But as we understand politics, there's a lot that is at play. Like I said before, different people are doing different things to get certain things. They're playing certain games. So I'm going to play you a clip from what I got from CNN, and we will continue to follow this story to see how everything plays out. I mean, it's a lot going on here in government, like I said earlier, and also in the entertainment world. I mean, he's being attacked and having to, step down, of course, possibly, even though he's willing to fight for his position. His administration is stepping down. And then we also have a lot of the music label executives stepping down based off of what's going on with Diddy. They're having to obtain attorneys as well to defend themselves. So we don't know all what's going on, who's doing what, but it sounds like a lot of fraudster, slick things are happening here that have been covered up. So we're going to see what happens. So like I said, definitely take a look at the clip that I show you from CNN. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Shauna's Music Entertainment TV. Hit the like button, comment, and if there's any topics that you want me to cover, I'll be glad to do so. And I will see you guys in the next video.
Is defiant. He's refusing to step down as he faces new federal charges of bribery, fraud, and campaign finance offenses. This is all part of an alleged multi-year scheme to solicit illegal campaign contributions and lavish gifts from foreign donors, which prosecutors say he illegally hid. Specifically, Mayor Adams allegedly received luxury travel and other benefits from a Turkish official, including multiple first-class flights and hotel stays worth tens of thousands of dollars. CNN's Gloria Pazmino reports for us now on what officials say Adams gave up in return.
I look forward to defending myself.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams, once a rising star in the Democratic Party, now faces a 5-count federal indictment.
The conduct alleged in the indictment, the foreign money, the corporate money, the bribery, the years of concealment, is a grave breach of the public's trust.
Prosecutors say Adams sold his office in exchange for thousands of dollars in illegal donations from foreign nationals, along with gifts, luxury travel, and premium hotel rooms. Adams forcefully denied the allegations.
The leaks, the commentary, the demonizing. And I ask New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense before making any judgments.
The indictment lays out a decade-long scheme by Adams stretching back to his time as Brooklyn borough president. Since then, prosecutors say Adams solicited donations from Turkish nationals in violation of campaign finance laws. The indictment lays out a number of alleged instances, like one where a staffer is communicating around a potential $100,000 donation, writing, "I think he wouldn't get involved in such games. They might cause a big stink later on." The Adams staffer allegedly responded, "I'll ask anyways."
Adams knew that these wealthy individuals could not legally donate in a U.S. election.
Prosecutors allege Adams tried to hide the donations by funneling them through straw donors. The money multiplied by thousands of dollars in taxpayer-funded matching funds. Once he took office, prosecutors say Adams used his power to pressure agencies to take favorable action to benefit Turkish officials. In one instance, the mayor directed the fire department to facilitate the opening of the new Turkish consulate, which had failed to pass safety inspections.
This building was important to the Turkish official, and it was important to Turkey.
Turkish officials, under pressure from an impending visit by the Turkish president, allegedly asked Adams to intervene. The building opened without incident. Prosecutors allege Adams took multiple trips to India, France, China, Hungary, and Ghana, making critical stops in Turkey, at one point texting his partner, "You know, first stop is always Istanbul." During the trips, Adams stayed in luxury accommodations for free or at a steep discount, according to prosecutors.
He asked to pay a nominal fee for all of this in order to disguise what we allege were, in fact, bribes.
The indictment also lays out how Adams would keep cash with an email that, quote, suggested that he left, at a minimum, well over $10,000 in cash in the Adams scheduler's desk drawer to, quote, send to Turkish Airlines. When he learned federal prosecutors were investigating, Adams allegedly tried to conceal the evidence, directing staffers to delete messages. Federal agents spent more than 3 hours inside Adams's residence this morning. Only Adams was named in the indictment, but since news of the investigations and impending charges broke into the open, several officials have tendered their resignations, leaving critical agencies without steady leaders.
From here, my attorneys will take care of the case so I can take care of the city.
And he has taken a first step to address that exact concern, Jake, whether or not he's going to be able to run the city. Just a few minutes ago, he sent an email to city workers telling them that he is innocent and that he wants them to focus on the job of running the city, that's what he's going to be doing in the next several weeks. We also heard from his lawyer outside of Gracie Mansion here just a short time ago. Alex Spiro was standing with the mayor, who remained silent while he was standing next to him. Spiro said that some of these airline upgrades and these travel tickets were simply airline upgrades, something that all VIPs get very often. Another important detail in all of this, Jake, if he is convicted of all these charges, the 5 counts, he could be facing up to 45 years in prison. We have also reached out to the Turkish consulate. We have not heard back. Jake?
All right, great piece. Gloria Pazmina, thank you so much. Let's break this all down with CNN senior legal analyst Eli Honig. He's the former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. That's the same office that charged Mayor Adams. So, Eli, you've read the indictment now. It's pretty juicy stuff, I have to say, as an indictment reader. And in your view, as a former prosecutor from the Southern District, how strong is it, do you think?
Well, Jake, sometimes I'll look at an indictment as a former prosecutor and just think, game over. The defense has nowhere to run. I actually did not have that reaction to this indictment. I don't think it's a slam dunk, but I do think the prosecution is proceeding from a solid foundation of evidence. Now, 2 things jumped out at me. First of all, it's clear that prosecutors have someone or more than one people cooperating from the inside. There's conversations that are relayed in this indictment that are clearly inside conversations, so they do seem to have key cooperation. And second of all, the text messages are really valuable. You saw some of them in Gloria's piece right there. One that jumped out at me, there's an incident where Adams learns about a foreign businessman who wants to donate to his campaign. But that's illegal. You cannot accept campaign contributions from a foreign national. And so Adams texts one of his campaign staffers, essentially, find a way to make this happen. We don't want to waste this guy's potential donation. So to me, it's a pretty incriminating text. So I think the evidence is good, but I wouldn't declare this over and done just yet.
Where do you see Mayor Adams' defense going here?
Yeah, a couple things. First of all, Eric Adams remains a popular figure in this town. Remember, it's going to require a unanimous New York jury to find him guilty. That's never easy to do. The other thing is the corruption laws have become more difficult for prosecutors in recent years. The Supreme Court, in a series of decisions, has narrowed the scope of these corruption laws. And one of the things they've held is it's not a quote unquote official act under the law to set up meetings or to make phone calls. There has to be something more tangible, like a vote given. So I think Eric Adams, and he's already hinted at this, will argue I was doing my job as mayor, I was doing constituent service, and that's not a crime.
How likely is it, do you think, that this case ends up at trial as opposed to a guilty plea? And if it goes to trial, how quickly might that happen?
So if you look at the data, Jake, over 95% of all federal cases in the Southern District of New York plead guilty without a trial. That said, this one seems like it's headed to trial to me. I don't see a scenario where Eric Adams, who's famously headstrong, who's obviously dug in, is going to admit criminal culpability and take a plea. Now, timing-wise, ordinarily a case like this would take at least a year to get to trial, maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years. However, we're going to have a situation where our sitting mayor is under indictment, and I think that will lead all parties, judge, prosecutor, and defense, to understand the need to get this thing to trial as soon as humanly possible, because to have a sitting mayor laboring under federal indictment is, I think, a problem for everybody.